Hi there, YouTube. This is a little bit of a departure for me. This is just more of a me rambling about things. So rather than scripting, we'll see how it goes. I've been thinking about feminism, um, which won't surprise people who have listened to the other or watched the other videos that are on this channel. And I've been thinking about the victimization, not only the victimization that women or feminists seem insistent on doing to themselves, but also the demonization of men at the same time. Um, this doesn't seem to have been really focused on for an item in itself. If it has been, I just haven't managed to catch those articles, and if anyone wants to point out where I can find information in the comments, that would be great. I'm well aware, obviously, that women, and I'm sure we're all aware, that women play the victim card at all times, basically reducing themselves to the role of victim and therefore to the role of a child. Obviously, the role of victimhood fits feminists because they are able to say, we need help doing this, or we need help doing that, we need affirmative action for this or affirmative action for that. And of course, what this actually means is any action that women are behind on and that men are ahead of, they want help, they want a leg up. They seem to be quite happy, of course, with anything where the woman is already in front. That's fine. And on occasions where the affirmative action has rendered men second class or to have fallen back, e.g. in the education system, women are totally cool with continuing to have all that affirmative action. At the same time, of course, you've got hypergamy kicking in, where women don't want to have, basically women don't want men of a lower status to themselves. And of course, if you raise a woman up, the pool of men of a higher status naturally diminishes. If you are a waitress at McDonald's, not that there's anything wrong with that, the number of men above you is considerable. If you're a partner in a law firm pulling down £500,000 or $500,000 a year, obviously the number of men above you reduces. And of course, the other thing at this point to think about is because women are basically having a career first and they're becoming this high maintenance, high achieving people, they then look around and want the men. And in the meantime, of course, the men who they want are the very rich men, who either have more sense than to allow women to just walk over them, or they have been burnt and don't want it, or they are going after the young ones. But I digress. What I really wanted to talk about is victimhood and demonization as a twin factor. Women can basically only operate in a system of victimization if they can have people rushing to their rescue, the so-called white knights. White knights can be people, white knights can be society, but basically any victim needs to have someone to come to their rescue. Every princess literally needs a knight to rescue them. The problem I can see with feminism is not only are they putting themselves up as the victims for practically everything. Women are victims in the workplace, they're victims of objectification, they're victims of the glass ceiling, they're victims, well, the list literally goes on for longer than I think my software could cope with me having to write or having to say this video. But basically, they then need someone to sort them out. They need someone to enact laws in education. They need someone to enact laws in the workplace, laws outside. They want family law, rape law. Basically, they want control to be enacted by the state to sort things out, to make things better for them. Now, this is all very well if you're a woman, but the problem is, at the same time as to who do you think they want to enact all these laws to make everything nice and wonderful for them? That's right. They want men to enact them. And how long do you think it's going to take them to realise that basically, if you say to a man, Please can you sort this out? Oh, and by the way, I think you're scum and I hate you and you're nasty and evil and you're not worthy of anything except as a function to give me money. Well, how many men are going to want to help those women? At the moment, because the world is still predominantly blue pill, at the moment, there's enough men out there to do this for them. However, that number is dropping as the divorce laws are taking their toll and as affirmative actions at all the levels of society are starting to take their toll. We have women-only gyms, women-only swimming pool times, women only this, women only that. Apparently it's so that women can feel safe. And that's fine. I personally have absolutely no problem in women having a little place to call their own. I mean, most people would refer to that as the world, but okay, we'll give the feminists that at this point. The thing is, it's a two-way street, but women won't allow men the same privilege. Men are systematically being pressed out of everywhere. Everywhere, if a woman sets up, or if women want a women's only club or gym or swimming pool or anything, even women's only charity events, for goodness sake, exist, which men are excluded from. Women have there's a charity race here in the UK. I don't know if it's all over the world, I have to admit I haven't checked, but there is a women's race, I think it's called the Race for Life, and it's only for women to deal with cancer. It's meant to be for every cancer. It's not just for breast cancer or any other women-only cancer. That would make sense. I would have no problem with a women's only event for a women's cancer problem. Not a problem with that. That actually would show positivity. That would be good. That would be rejecting victimhood. That would be saying, we've got a problem, we're going to sort it, and we don't need you. And I'm all for that. Big thumbs up, fair play to you, rock on. However, no, this is an all cancer thing. So this is, potentially, this is a company, this is a charity that would be supporting prostate cancer and other cancers that, men get as well as women, lung cancer and blood cancer and all the other kinds of cancer that rightly need to be sorted out. But it's a women-only thing. It's like, men, we do not need you to help us sort out blood cancer. We're going to do it on our own. That's not very nice. Plus, it's, in my view anyway, very counterproductive. Anyway, I digress. With the men, with the blue pill, red pill world, with the number of men who are gradually taking the red pill with all these affirmative actions, this stuff can only... sorry, I remember. Slight digression. Yes, women are basically, if you have they're not allowing men to have a space. Women are allowed to have a space and men aren't allowed in that space. No, because all men are evil and are rapists and murderers and are going to beat you up. They're going to walk into the club apparently and just take a big club and just thwack it round women's heads, drag them off and rape them. Apparently. Who knew? Don't know many clubs where that happens, to be honest. On the other hand, when men want to have their own space, that's terrible. No, that's sexist. Oh, you can't do that. And I don't know about you, but it's not sexist to want your own space. Just because you don't like something and you're a woman does not make it sexist. I'm a man. I don't particularly like, this has come as a shock, I know, because, I am a man. I'm a man. I don't particularly like football. Shock, I know. I can hear the whole of YouTube inhaling at this very moment. Because I don't like football, it does not make it sexist. It doesn't instantly make it a sexist issue. That it makes it a me issue. It means I don't like football. It doesn't mean I want football banned because it's demeaning to men and it should never be allowed to happen. That's just patently nonsense. But if you get a woman looking at a magazine that has women in it and they don't like it, they will say, oh, this magazine is sexist and must be taken off the shelves immediately for the little one's sake. Yeah, yeah, we'll see how that's flying. That's not really the point, is it? I mean, I defy any person on the planet not to want a little bit of downtime, a little bit of me time from time to time. Sometimes, men don't want the company of women 24/7. They want a little bit of time either on their own in the traditional man cave, wherever that man cave may be it the garage, the shed, the front room, propped up in front of the telly, watching the baseball, the cricket or the football, whatever takes your fancy. Maybe they want a little bit of time with their friends down the pub or the club or the dance hall or anything like that. You know, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to be around your friends? Where, of course, apparently, if you listen to feminists and women, then men should be totally satisfied with their company 24/7. But, interestingly, women are allowed to go out with their friends and their girlfriends at a moment's notice, and men aren't allowed to have a problem with that. Apparently, if men have a problem with that, well, A, who cares? Because of course, you know, women matter, and if a man upsets a woman, well, that's just it. The man's going to get the silent treatment for so long. It's just untrue, and of course, that's sexist. Basically, if a man says anything against a woman, that's instant sexism. That's instant patriarchy. If a woman says anything against a man, well, that's fine because, yes, well, you know, obviously the victim can always shout back at the oppressor. Yeah, great. So this was just my thoughts on this. I did have other thoughts, but they've managed to pass me by, unfortunately. No doubt they will form parts of another video. I don't want to put everything into one video because this video would end up as 4 hours long, and I certainly don't claim to be any sort of authority on the world of men's rights or feminism or activism or anything like that at this time. I am absorbing as much as I can. I recommend anyone who doesn't already, and I'm sure this is old news to 98% of the people listening to this, I recommend anyone listen to everything by Barbarossa and Stardust, Girl Writes What, and I recommend anyone looks at A Voice for Men, which is a wonderful, wonderful resource. But what I will just talk about very briefly is the whole MGTOW movement, men going their own way. This is not, I consider myself a MGTOW. I would not consider myself a woman hater. This is a very important thing that some people do. A lot of MGTOWs seem to be quite bitter, rightly so. I'm not exactly the world's greatest fan of women, it is true, but it's not them in general. It's just it's a waking up. I mean, the whole point of MGTOW is it's a waking up to realise that you don't need to define yourself by looking at yourself from women's eyes. You can define yourself in your own right. You know, in the 90s and early 2000s, it was all about the Spice Girls. It was all about girl power. You know, I forget who wrote it, but it was Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves was a very popular song a number of years ago. And that's fine. So basically, MGTOW is brothers doing it for themselves, aka men just standing up and going, you know what, I'm not a husband or a boyfriend, I am me. And I'm just going to do what I do the best way I can do it for me. And if that follows on to make other people happy, that's great. But if it doesn't, well, that's just tough because I am me. And I think at the end of the day, that's the heart of the message. Well, I've rambled on for considerably longer than I planned to. So anyone who's made it this far, thank you very much. You've been very patient. Hopefully my videos will get more polished and better. I am planning to buy myself a new microphone because I'm aware the sound quality of this isn't great. This is just my standard headset that I have to use, and that's I know that's not great. But thank you very much for listening. Please leave me a comment. Do you prefer my waffle to my scripted videos? Please let me know. Please let me know if what you're listening to you consider to be absolute rubbish. I am genuinely interested in hearing what people have to say. Am I saying good stuff? Do you totally agree? Do you totally disagree? I'm not someone who wants to filter their comments, so if you want to violently disagree with me about everything, please do violently disagree with me. I'm someone, I want to be completely open and honest and fair and not censor things. I'm not into censorship. If you don't like it, that's totally fine. That's the definition of freedom. The freedom to say something, freedom of expression, which is something that is not afforded by feminists, because in my experience, feminists or women in general who don't like something will just shout them down and go, la, 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 I'm not listening, until it goes away, or give the cold shoulder. But I'm completely open to it because I forget where the quote comes from, but I believe that something along lines of, I may not agree with what you say, but I've defended to the death your right to say it. And I think that's a very good way to live. Basically, it's treating people as adults. If you don't like something, well, you know what? You don't have to do anything with it. As I said earlier, I don't like football. So the way I handle that is I don't watch football. I mean, how could you possibly imagine such an amazing and radical solution? But there we are. Anyway, I've managed to digress. So anyway, I will cut it short here, YouTube. I look forward to hearing from you, and I look forward to doing another video sometime. Bye bye.